We'll do it live. We'll do it live. So good morning, good Saturday morning to you. Trump has officially called for the assassination of Liz Cheney, I think. Is that what happened? The news is saying that Trump says that Liz Cheney needs to be put in front of a firing squad. And I just woke up and I heard this on the news, and then it's all over the news. It's on MSNBC and CBS and ABC and LGBTQRSP. It's all over the place. So apparently Trump is now calling for, this is Project 2025 is finally here. So it's finally here and it's starting to happen. And and the election hasn't even happened yet, but already Trump has already decided he's got a hit list together, and he's going to start having people put, I guess, I don't really know. I just heard this on the news this morning that it's all starting now. And Trump, okay, this is what I heard on the news today. Trump is, he's going to have Liz Cheney put in front of a firing squad. And this is also the thing I heard on the news this morning, is that there are camps being built all over America to put in the enemies of Donald Trump. So all of Trump's enemies are going to be rounded up. They're going to be put in concentration camps. There's going to be firing squads. And this is what I heard on the news this morning. And I think this is amazing. I think this is exciting. And so I think we should talk about it, because Project 25 is finally here. And this is just like, wow, I had no idea it was we haven't even had the election. Maybe we're not going to have an election. Maybe Trump's already the president. Maybe he's already the president. Maybe there isn't even going to be an election. Maybe they're just going to say, you're just the president. And there you go. No more elections. No more elections. I think that's what's happening. But let's see. I haven't seen this report yet, but this is from overseas. Let's see what these ladies have to say. It's two women. I think this is a British newscast, but neither of them is English. But one of them looks like she's from Malaysia, and the other one looks like some kind of a Middle Eastern person. But let's see. Oh no, this is Australia. There you go. So Australia, of course, we've got two South Asian Malaysian looking woman, and a woman from, I don't know where she's from. She's some kind of a maybe Persian or Arab something. Let's see what they have to say on this is apparently in Australia. When I was a kid, I remember exactly what Australians looked like, but I can't recognize them anymore. It's hard to recognize what an Australian is today. Let's hear what they have to say.
Until the US election, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris have returned to the battleground states in America's Rust Belt as the race for the White House enters its final sprint. Our correspondent Elias Kluwer joins us now from...
Oh, this is a black guy. So it's Australian news. It's two women. One's Malaysian and the other one's some kind of a Middle Eastern lady. And then they go to the correspondent. It's a black guy. This is in Australia, by the way.
Swing state of Michigan. Elias, good morning to you.
He's in Michigan.
Certainly heating up now. Why have both candidates decided to head to America's Rust Belt?
Good morning, Joe. Well, two reasons, really. Wisconsin and Michigan, two swing states, and they're both worth 25 electoral college votes between them, which means if you lose them both, the pathway to becoming president becomes very narrow. Win them both,
get to the good stuff,
becomes very wide. It's that simple. Now, Kamala Harris is spending today across Lake Michigan in Wisconsin. Donald Trump will be arriving here in Warren, Michigan very shortly. We've just seen a sea of red caps make their way into this Macomb Community Center, where Donald Trump is expected to give his remarks in about an hour or so. In fact, you might see some Secret Service.
Get to the good part. Come on.
Now, the significance of him being in Warren, Michigan is that this is the old Detroit suburbs. Detroit, a city, of course, built on the auto industry, and it's still a very significant employer here. Now, traditionally, that demographic, I guess, has been heavily unionized and has gravitated towards the Democratic Party. But the Trump team believes they're making significant ground within that key voting group, and certainly some of those quote-unquote blue-collar workers that we see.
I don't hear about the workers. It says here, this is what the headline is, from ABC News Australia. Trump suggests critic Liz Cheney have guns trained on her face. That's the part I want to hear about.
Today provided full-throated endorsements of Donald Trump,
Dude,
and they told us that they believe many...
Shut up.
caused some outrage. Just tell us about those comments.
Yeah.
Joe, this has really overshadowed Donald Trump's Rust Belt.
Let's get on with it, bro.
He made comments with right-wing TV host Tucker Carlson about
right-wing TV. Tucker Carlson is right-wing, by the way. Now, I didn't know that. I didn't know that Tucker Carlson is right-wing because he's to the right of Rachel Maddow. He's right-wing. These people are so stupid. But let's continue. Oh, I'm not supposed to say people are stupid. He's not stupid. He is what? I don't know. Let's continue.
Former Republican Congresswoman, but an outspoken critic of Donald Trump, and certainly there's no love lost between the two, but Donald Trump certainly took that acrimony a step further in that interview with Tucker Carlson, describing her as a very dumb person, a war hawk, and even raising the hypothetical, I guess, of her facing a firing squad.
Right. So he called her dumb. According to the news, Donald Trump called Liz Cheney dumb and then said that she should be put in front of a firing squad. Let's hear it.
Listen to those comments and then the rejection of those comments by the Vice President Kamala Harris.
She's a radical war hawk.
Yeah.
Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9-barrel shooting.
Yeah, Donald Trump. Let's hear that again. Oh my God, that's the best part. Hold on, let's hear that again.
She's a radical war hawk.
Uh-huh.
Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9-barrel shooting at her, okay? Let's see.
Yeah, dude. This is awesome. I got to hear that again. This is Donald Trump. He's going to be the president. This is Project 25 is starting right now. Come on, Trump. Let's hear it.
She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9-barrel shooting at her, okay? Let's see how.
This is why I've decided I'm going to vote for Trump today. I'm going to go down to the polls today. The polls are open in my city, and I'm going to vote for Trump. I had no idea that this was going to really happen. I thought Project 2025 was fake. I thought it was all fake. I thought it was all hyperbole. But now I realize that it's really going to happen. And this is so exciting. I can't even believe it. I had no idea. I thought that this was all just a big joke, that the media was lying. I thought they were all lying. I thought they were just making all this up. But now I realized that the whole time they were telling the truth and that we're on the verge of total fascism in the United States of America. And I support it. So I'm going to the polls. And I'm voting for Donald Trump today. I'm going to the polls today to vote for it. We got to hear this again. I had no idea Trump was really going to do this. Hold on a second. Let's hear it. Trump is going to go. He's going to go pedal to the metal.
Kamala Harris.
She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9-barrel shooting at her. Okay?
He's even going to give her a rifle. So not only is it going to be a firing squad, but he wants to see, like, it's almost like what do you call it? Like a cockfight, like where they put two chickens in there and they make them fight each other. So he's even going to give Liz Cheney a way to defend herself against the 9 Russian assassins. So this is Trump's imagination here. And I just think this is amazing. I had no idea this was real. I had no idea. So apparently Trump's going to send her to Russia to face a firing squad, but he's going to give her a gun. What kind of gun is he going to give her? He said a rifle. So is it going to be like, what kind of rifles are they going to have? Are they going to have AK-47s, SKS? What are they going to have? And what is Liz Cheney going to have? Liz Cheney should have a bolt action. He should give Liz Cheney a bolt action 22. And so she can defend herself against this thing that I'm hearing about on television. I'm hearing about all this on Australian news, and I think this is just fascinating. Let's hear some more.
Hey, let's see how she feels about it.
Yeah, let's see how she feels about it. So I think this is great. I want to encourage everyone to go to the polls today and vote for Donald Trump. Let's hear this. Let's hear this again. This is amazing. I had no idea this was real, dude. You know, the thing is, with the media lies so much, I thought they were just making stuff up. I had no idea that this was really going to happen. But this is what Trump said it. I'm listening to him here.
Harris.
Here he goes.
She's a
Listen.
radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her. Okay?
Wow. Wow. Wow, dude. Oh my God, it's happening. It's really happening. This is amazing. So I'm just so excited. I'm just so excited. I'm going to vote for Trump now. I think this is just so amazing. And I was tricked. I was tricked by Sean Hannity. They said this is not real. Sean Hannity said there's no such thing as Project 2025 and that Trump's not really a fascist. But now he's on with Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is basically like Goebbels. He's basically, or as the liberal media likes to call him, Goebbels. I call him Goebbels, but the liberal media likes to call him Goebbels. And Tucker Carlson is basically Goebbels. He's basically Joseph Goebbels, and Trump is Hitler, Mussolini, Mao, Pol Pot, and Stalin all rolled up into one. But he's orange and has golden hair. So I think that this is fascinating. Let's hear this. I can't get enough of this. This is just so awesome. Let's hear it again. Let's see. This is Trump's plan for. This is Trump's first day in office. This is what he says he's going to do. Listen.
She's a radical war hawk.
Yeah.
Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her. Okay, let's see how she feels about it.
Let's see how she feels about it. Oh my God! What about John Bolton? What about a bunch of them? What about Jonah Goldberg or Jeff Goldberg or both of them? Both the Goldbergs. What about the Kagans and the Noodlemans? What about all of those people? Is Trump going to do the same thing to them? We're going to find out. But you have to vote. You have to vote for him if you want to find out what's going to happen. You have to vote for Trump. Otherwise, none of this. Otherwise, you don't get Project 2025. You don't get the firing squads. You don't get the concentration camps. So you got to get out and vote. You got to go to vote for Trump today. I thought this was all fake. I thought they were hyperbole. I literally this morning I woke up, turned on the news, and I was laying in bed, and I'm sitting there, and they're literally saying there's these women that they were saying there's going to be concentration camps for Trump's enemies. And I thought that was I'm like, that's not real. And it's like, no, it's real. It's really happening. So you got to get out and vote for Trump. Otherwise, we can't carry out our global fascist project 2025. So I just want to encourage everyone to go to the polls and go there today. Go there today and vote today, especially if you're in a swing state. Let's hear what else he has to say. Now, Tucker Carlson, I don't even know this, but Tucker Carlson apparently is an actual Nazi now. I guess he was. I mean, I know he's like I know he like lives in somewhere in the woods and stuff, and he's got like a cabin in the woods. It could be. It's almost like he's another. Who's that one guy? The guy that lived in the cabin. Tucker is becoming that guy. He lives in a cabin in the woods, and he's like right-wing propaganda machine. And he's out there with guns. He's got guns out there. So this is getting very exciting. I think this is really the beginnings of a total fascist takeover in America. There's not going to be any more voting. There's not going to be any more women on the TV, like little, what do you call it? Like The View, that's going to be shut down. They're all going to go to prison. They're all going to be rounded up. They're going to be in concentration camps, work camps. Some people have even suggested that Trump, like Hitler, will actually have Zyklon B to delousing chambers. Like literally, I've heard that on the media. I've heard that on that Trump is Hitler, which means delousing chambers, and it's all of it. It's like they're going to have their heads shaved. There's going to be piles of shoes. There's going to be prison garb. It's all happening. It's all happening. So go out and vote for Trump. Let's see what else he has to say on Tucker Carlson.
When the guns are trained on her face.
Here's Kamala doesn't like this. Why not? What's the big deal? Because she's a black woman. That's why she doesn't like that. Because she's a black woman. She's a black Indian Jamaican woman. Kamala Harris is.
It's disqualifying.
She says it's disqualifying. How would she know it's disqualifying when white people built America? How would she know it's disqualifying when we're the ones that set the qualifications, when we created America? How would she know? What does she have to do with it? She's from Jamaica and India. Let's listen to what she says, though.
Anyone who wants to be president of the United States who uses that kind of violent rhetoric is clearly disqualified and unqualified to be president.
What? What are you talking about? Says who? Who sets these qualifications? I don't know. Who do you think sets the qualifications? Anyway, let's hear Trump again. That was really good. We got to hear Trump again. And then they pan back to this black guy who's from Australia, but he's black, and he's in Michigan, and he's got this frumpy look on his face. It's like they're all so down. It's like, dude, this is so exciting. Why are you guys all frumpy like that? Let's hear Kamala again. She's a strong black woman. Let's hear her.
Anyone who wants to be president of the United States who uses that kind of violent rhetoric is clearly disqualified and unqualified to be president.
No. Here's the frumpy guy.
Now, we've been speaking to many supporters of Donald Trump
A frumpy black guy with an Australian accent.
today who have backed the former president's comments. Certainly,
okay, let's hear. I got to hear Trump again.
Part of the old Republican establishment.
See, the thing is, what I want, I want something exciting. I'm tired of this whole boring politics stuff. It's so boring. It's like we're all in kindergarten and we all get sat down and talked to like we're 2 years old. And they come in and they tell us how we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to act. And this is way more exciting because Trump is calling for his political opponents to be put in front of firing squads. It's like, that is so much more interesting. That is so much more interesting that I have to hear this again because this is just so interesting. We got to hear Trump again. This is why I love Trump. I didn't realize he was really good. I thought this was all fake. I thought the media was lying. I believed Sean, like for the whole past 4 years, what has Sean Hannity said? Trump's not a fascist. And all the media, all the right-wing media, Dan Bongino, Trump's not a fascist. Trump just cares about the economy. Trump just cares about getting our jobs back. When the truth comes out right before the election, and here we go, let's listen to it. I want to hear it again.
She's a radical war hawk.
Yeah.
Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels.
He's even going to give her a rifle at her firing squad. Trump says he's going to give Liz Cheney a rifle to defend herself at the firing squad. I'm suggesting she gets a 22 bolt action. I think a 22 bolt action versus whatever the Russians, because Trump's saying that she needs to go over there. She needs to send her there to face the firing squad. I guess because I think what this tells me now, I believe that Trump has secretly been working with Putin the whole time, and that Trump works with Putin, and they've got a plan because they've got a plan to take people like Liz Cheney and Jeffrey Goldberg and Victoria Noodleman and secretly bring them over there. Maybe Mike Pompeo, who is actually CIA, maybe he's secretly working with the Russians. And they're going to send him over there to Russia to face a firing squad. But Trump is even saying when they get there, he wants them to have guns to make it more interesting. Because how boring is it to face a firing squad, for the guys shooting at you if they're the only ones that have guns and you don't have a gun? So I guess he wants to give I guess he's going to give everybody guns at the firing squad. So this is going to be great. Let's listen to this again.
Shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it.
Yeah.
When the guns are trained on her face.
This must be disqualifying.
Kamala doesn't like it. This must be disqualifying. This must be disqualifying. It's like we're in elementary school. This must be disqualifying. You can't say that. Says who? Who makes these rules, right? Don't we make the rules? Like, who is these people? The experts. They're always going to the experts. Well, the experts say that what you're doing is wrong and what I'm doing is right. No more, because Donald, Mussolini, Adolf Hitler, Mao, Stalin, the man of steel, Trump, is now poised to become the next president. He's going to have firing squads for his political opponents. He's going to have massive concentration camps for people in the media, like Joe Scarborough and that weird blonde lady that he's with the squawky voice, and the ladies of the View, and what's her name? Whoopi Goldberg. She's going to be in there. They're all going into the camps. Donald Trump is sending them all into the camps, and there's going to be huge camps, and there's going to be they're going to get prison. They're going to get striped prison garb, and they're going to get their heads shaved, and they're going to like pat them down with Zyklon B powder. According to the media, I didn't make this up. This is what I heard. I heard this morning when I woke up, that there's going to be concentration camps for the media. I heard that on, I believe it was ABC. I believe it was ABC, or it could have been NBC. That's what I heard on television, on the mainstream CIA controlled Washington. Like, this is coming from the White House media, right? It's not like this isn't some fringe stuff, right? This is coming from the official sources say that Donald Trump's going to have concentration camps, and that all of the women from The View are going to be in there. And so I'm saying that if this is true, and it looks like it's really happening, then you have to vote for Donald Trump. You have to get to the polls, and you have to vote for Donald Trump, even if you don't vote for anybody else, even if you don't want to vote for all the other, just vote for Donald Trump. No matter where you are, you have to do it. So let's continue. Kamala Harris thinks this is terrible.
Anyone who wants to be president of the United States who uses that kind of violent rhetoric is clearly disqualified and unqualified to be president.
Says who? That's what I'm saying. It's like we're all in elementary school. It's like we're in kindergarten. And hey, you can't say that. Apparently we can. Apparently we can. Apparently the weights have been lifted off of us, and the chains have been broken, and we're gonna have total, complete fascism ruling America. And maybe it doesn't even matter. Maybe Trump's already the president. According to the QAnon people, he's been the president the whole time. So do you even need to vote? I would say go vote anyway. Even though he's already the president, he's already setting up assassination teams, and he's already setting up these what do you call it? These camps and everything. This is what I heard on television anyway. This is what I heard from the official White House television sources are saying this, including Kamala Harris, who you just heard her say that that's what he said. So anyway, let's continue on this Australia newscast with two black ladies and a black guy, all from Australia. He's got a frumpy look.
Now,
on his
we've
face.
been speaking to many supporters of Donald Trump here today who have backed the former president.
If you didn't see him, you would think he was a white guy talking like this, because he has an Australian accent.
Comment. Certainly, Liz Cheney is seen as part of the old Republican establishment, which is, I guess, not particularly popular amongst Donald Trump's supporters. And they
Right. She's not popular amongst Donald Trump supporters, which is America. Like, you got to understand, we hate people like Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney represents the genocidal, psychopathic, mass murder cult of the LGBT, BLM, global Sodom, mass murder, extermination people, right? So yeah, we're against that. Americans hate that. We don't like that. I mean, you think just because there's an American flag on the weapons that are going around exterminating all the people in Europe and in the Middle East, you think because there's an American flag on, you must think the American people support it, but we don't. You see, we don't. At one time, we kind of got tricked into it, like right after 9/11. But actually, we don't. We actually don't support it. So we don't like Liz Cheney. So when the media tries to defend Liz Cheney, we go, because we don't like her. We don't like Liz Cheney. We don't like Dick Cheney. We don't like Obama. We don't like George Bush. We don't like John McCain. We don't like Meghan McCain. We don't like any of them. They're all garbage to us, Americans. The American people hate these people. We can't stand them. And we don't like the leadership in Germany. And we don't like the leadership at NATO. And we don't like the leadership in the UK. We don't like any of it. We don't like Macron. We don't like Trudeau. We hate it all. So no, we're not worried about Liz Cheney or what Donald Trump says about Liz Cheney. We don't like any of it, and we want it to end. And so now Donald Trump, of course, is saying we're going to go into total fascism, and he's going to have them all rounded up. And that's why I'm saying it's really happening. And I thought this was all fake, but it's not. Let's listen to Liz Cheney.
I really, in fact, like the fact that Donald Trump is, I guess, someone who speaks his mind. Let's have a listen to some of those supporters who, again, were quite supportive of those remarks around Liz Cheney.
They've changed all of the things he said. They turned it around.
Yeah, this is where they go wrong. See, she's trying to defend Trump and said that they're lying about him, but they're not. You got to understand. You see, you're acting all defensive. Trump didn't really say that. Trump didn't really say that. Just say, yeah, he said it. Yeah, he said it. What are you going to do about it? 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 What are you going to do about it when Trump puts you in a camp? When Trump puts you in a camp and you have to work all day in a camp. Before you worked at The View, now you're in a camp, right? You're in a camp digging trenches. This is all real, folks. This is all real. It's really happening. This is amazing. I love this. But the people that are she's trying to say Trump didn't really say these things.
He said again, how would she like it if guns were pointed at her?
See, come on. Now, let me be serious for a second. Nobody's this fucking stupid, right? Like, you don't have to explain this to people. Like you don't have to go around correcting the media all the time, okay? Just agree with them. Just agree with them, and you tell them you think it's fantastic, right? You don't have to go around saying, Trump didn't really say this. Trump didn't really say that. Trump didn't really say this. Just agree and just say it's great. Because, look, I tell the media, I hate you, and I hope that everything you're saying is true. I hope it's all true. I hope it's really going to happen. And you're just motivating me to go vote for this man because this is what I think of you and what you've done to this country. I've watched you all my life. And if you want to know why people hate the media so much, it's because of the media, right? People hate the media because of the people in the media and the things that they say, right? Just like people who hate, I'm talking about this media, the Australian media or the CBS or whatever, but it's the same for Sean Hannity. It could be the same for me. The things that I'm saying some people might think this is horrible and they hate me now. Well, that's just because of what I'm saying. I'm saying things that some people won't like. And the U.S. media for decades has been saying things we don't like. So if they're going to, if Donald Trump says they're going to get rounded up and thrown into camps and put before firing squads, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to pretend like we care now? I don't care. I could care less. I think this country is pretty stupid, to be honest with you. So I don't care. I don't care. Let's continue.
He doesn't want to send people to war.
When he's elected, he'll take out retribution on people that disagree with him.
I would have just see. So he asked the question: if he's elected, he's going to take out retribution on people that disagree with him. And she's going to go, no. When the right answer is, okay, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? That's the right answer.
I wouldn't put anything past Trump.
Oh,
is that a good thing? No.
Yes. That's the type of leader we need.
It's a dictatorship.
She's got the right idea.
We put him in a position of power to make decisions, to make hard decisions. And that's what we're voting for. That's why we trust him. I would trust him a whole lot more than I would trust Kamala's decision.
Right on, sister. Right on. I didn't realize there were going to be black people on board with this. This is great. See, she's got the right idea. He asked her the question instead of going, no, he didn't really say that. She's like, oh, yeah, that sounds good. We should do that. I like it. Go vote for Trump.
Because she doesn't know what her decision is. One minute she's black, 1 minute she's Indian, 1 minute she's pro-choice, 1 minute she's pro-life, 1 minute she's Southern, 1 minute she's Northern. She just doesn't know what she is, but Trump always knows what he is.
Right on.
So there's supporters outside the rally here who've been waiting for hours, by the way, to get into the Macomb Community College to watch Donald Trump speak this evening. Now, in terms of the race for the state of Michigan.
So
Apparently the polls
boring.
have it
So boring, dude. You guys are just boring me to death. We need more of this Trump. I want to hear more about Trump being Hitler. That's all I want to hear about. That's all I care about. I just want to hear about how Trump's Hitler. Please. That's all I really care about. I don't want to hear about anything else. I just want to hear Trump is Hitler, and he's going to round up his enemies. They're all going to go to prison, or they're going to be put in front of firing squads. I just want to hear more reports like this. That's all I want to hear. Trump is Hitler. I'm putting this into YouTube, and let's see what we get. Trump is Hitler. Trump is Hitler. MSNBC. Lawrence using the language of Hitler. Yeah, let's try this one. Here's MSNBC, guys.
With California facing...
Oh, man. What is this?
Need to get serious about cutting spending. Prop 34 takes the...
Let's skip that.
Well, it was garbage day
Yeah.
in the presidential campaign.
Lawrence
It's
O'Donnell.
garbage.
What? Why is Lawrence O'Donnell working? Whatever. I don't understand. Oh, yeah, I do. Wait a minute. I do remember. I think it's the Jesuits. He's probably Catholic, and he may be a Jesuit, or he's tied in with the Pope. So a lot of these white guys like O'Donnell and Hannity, even though they're on different sides, they're both part of this conspiracy against America, which is through the Jesuit order, which is actually what founded D.C. So let's continue.
Man, Donald Trump, actually climbing, I should say, stumbling into a garbage truck.
Yeah. We've already heard this. I want to hear about how he's Hitler.
To the free-flowing racism and bigotry at his Madison Square Garden rally.
Woo! Free-flowing bigotry and racism. Yes. Let's continue.
No one has ever heard of, referring to Puerto Rico.
Okay, I didn't like the thing he said about Puerto Rico. That comedian guy, I thought that was rude and stupid. In fact, I thought all of his jokes were rude and stupid, and I don't know why they had that idiot on there. And then you have all these other idiots who are like saying it. You know, they're like defending his comment. I thought his comments were just gross. Like everything he said was like stupid and gross. And you know, it's like when I don't like people that make racial jokes that aren't actually funny but are just demeaning or degrading. I don't like that. I actually don't like that. I think that's stupid. So, you know, but anyway, let's continue.
And Puerto Ricans as, quote, a floating island of garbage.
Okay, I don't want to hear about that.
Last night,
shut up.
I see floating out there is his supporters.
I think Biden's secretly working with Trump. I think that's part of this thing. I think Biden works for Trump now. I think he's going to get even, which means that Biden has access to all the important information if he's smart enough to go out. Jill is, though. Jill could get in there. Jill can go in there and get the information, send it to Trump. That way, we don't really have a real election. We have more. Trump's already secretly the president. That's like a Q thing. That's what I heard on Q. Anyway, let's continue.
His demonization of things is unconscionable, and it's un-American. It's totally contrary to everything we've done, everything we've been.
I don't even know what that means. Everything we've done, everything we've been. First of all, the fact of the matter is, I didn't like any of those comments by that comedian. But America's always been a racist country. Since when has America not been a racist country? It's always been. It was founded by white racists in the beginning. Like that's why when people say America's not racist, well, actually it is. It was always founded. It was founded by white nationalists. America was. When they set up America in the beginning, it was white guys who set up a country for white people. And in order to be a citizen, you had to be white. George Washington signed the Naturalization Act, which said that in order to be an American, you had to be a free white person. So it wasn't actually set up for other races. So I think it's always been about white people making a government. So I don't know. Even though I didn't like the comedian's comments, I thought they were very rude. And I don't like rude, racist comments. The fact of the matter is, let's continue. You want to listen to me talk about this nonsense.
And falsely interpreted that statement to mean that Joe Biden
Hurry up. I want to hear about how Trump's Hitler
is his supporters.
Okay. They keep going over this,
which is
nonsense.
the only word I can think of.
And including those who may not vote for me in this election.
Okay.
Donald Trump himself, of course, calls Americans garbage all the time.
No, he doesn't. He calls you garbage. He calls us great. He says we're great and that you're the garbage.
And it's not her. It's the people that surround her. They're scum.
That's right. That's right. That's right. They're scum. They're scum. They're scum. You know when I realized this? When I was watching PBS as a child, I realized how full of garbage the U.S. government is. That it's literally run by scum. And then that was when I was a child. Then as I got older, I saw them going around exterminating people all over the world. And then I saw how they brainwashed everybody into going along with it. And then how and they were mostly targeting, well, they're targeting everybody, but they were targeting white people to go along with all their extermination programs, while at the same time killing off all the white people in America and Europe. So the whole thing is like this just big pile of death. Big pile of death. And this has been going on since after the Civil War and the establishment of the Federal Reserve Bank is really when it really kicked off. So let's continue with these idiots.
They're scum. And they want to take down our country.
That's true.
They are absolute garbage.
Right on. Absolute garbage. That's the kind of talk that I like. That's the kind of talk that I like. That's the kind of president that I want. Go out and vote for Donald Trump. The enemies of us are garbage. They are scum. They're scum and they're garbage. And here we go. We're going to have total fascism. And I think that's fantastic. So let's do it.
Garbage.
Yes, you're garbage.
There were 75,000 people surrounding Kamala Harris last night in Washington in a crowd that was 50% bigger than the last crowd Donald Trump spoke to in Washington on January 6th, 2021.
And?
Did Donald Trump mean that those 75,000 people who surrounded Kamala Harris last night, all of them are scum, are garbage?
No, I'll tell you what I think. I think a lot of them are misled. A lot of them are misled, or a lot of them are actually garbage, because some of them are actual hardcore sodomites and like seriously perverted weirdos, like seriously. Anybody who supports the sexual abuse of children is garbage. Okay, so that would be a good portion of that crowd. Anybody that supports killing babies is garbage. So you can't say you support killing babies, or that like any babies. Like you could say, Brian, some of the things you say are kind of racist. Yeah, but guess what? I don't support killing people's babies. See the difference? Like I wouldn't kill a black baby. I wouldn't kill a Hispanic baby. Like I'm not for killing babies, you see? So yeah, some of the things I say are racist, but I'm not for killing babies. And when you get these women out there, white women, black, whoever they are, and they're for like killing babies, this is the most insane psychosis I've ever seen. And it's not just, they're for killing babies, and they're for homosexual marriage, and they're for public displays of perversion, right? Street perversion, where they're marching around in the street. They take over cities and they do perverted sexual acts in public. But that's the whole thing, is all the sexuality has become public. You know, what was once a private, intimate experience between two people in love or in lust has now been a public thing, whether it's through pornography or through, cities putting on pride events where there's public sexuality. They've turned something that's between a man and a woman into a public thing where everyone's participating together. It's disgusting. It's sickness. But it all, if you notice, it all revolves around what not really eugenics, but more like dysgenics. But it's probably part of it, what you would call a eugenics program. It's just a big program to get to degrade the society so it dies. So it's like the public displays of sexual perversion, making sex a public matter through pornography and in the media, and in government, and then that with the drugs, the hardcore drugs, the addictive drugs, the chemicals they put in the food to change your biology, to change your hormonal system. Like, yeah, anyone who supports all that is garbage. Anyone who supports the genocidal programs against human beings is garbage. And but see, arresting those people would not be garbage. Putting them in a camp would not be garbage. That'd be a smart thing to do. See, that would be a smart thing to do. Now, the other thing is, I'm actually a supporter of humane treatment of prisoners. So I don't believe in solitary confinement. I don't even really believe in keeping people locked up in walled prisons. I think if you, because I've, some of these people that get arrested, they put them in solitary confinement for years. That is a form of torture. But see, that's who's doing that. It's the same people. It's the same people that believe in abortion. It's the same people that believe in sodomy. It's the same people that do the LGBT. It's the same unions that control them, control the police departments, are building the prisons. It's all the same people. So the reason why we have these prison systems where people are going in and being tortured or being abused is because it's run by these people. So that doesn't mean you can't arrest people, but once you have somebody arrested, you should treat them humanely and give them a project to work on. They should actually be put to work in a humane way, not work to death. They should be given nutrition. They should be given comfortable sleep, but they shouldn't be free to go around and harm the rest of society. But let's continue about our Project 2025 global fascism.
Is that what he meant? Did Donald Trump mean that everyone who voted for Kamala Harris to be our vice president 4 years ago is garbage?
I wouldn't say they're all garbage. I would say some of them actually are. Like I said, the people I just described, the exterminationists, the baby murderers, the people that want to do surgeries on mentally ill people and cut off their genitals and put on a fake, like cut their arms, skin off with the muscles on their arms and make it into a fake penis and attach it to a woman. It's like people that do that really are garbage. The people doing that are mentally ill and need our help. But see, that's so like, I'll give you an example. You've got even of course, Republicans. Republicans have been behind this actually the whole time since the end of the Civil War, the Rockefellers, who are saying, I'm against kids getting trans surgery. But what they mean by that is they're not against adults getting it. Well, those adults are mentally ill. So you're going to take a mentally ill man in his 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s, and he's mentally ill. Maybe he's on drugs. Maybe he's just severely mentally deranged. And you're going to put him under the knife and you're going to cut off his genitals, or you're going to attach a fake penis to a woman that you're going to cut her arm off. And you're going to peel off all of her. You're going to scrape off her muscles, and you're going to build a phallus and attach it to her vagina and tell her she has a penis. Like Europe. So, and this the Republicans. I'm talking about the Republicans who say they're against this stuff. Like they're saying, well, we're against it for children under 18. That means anyone over 18, we support it, and they are supporting it. See, so those people, in my opinion, are also garbage. Anyone that does that to a human being is garbage. You can go into the whole medical thing. Like anyone practicing this in the medical field is garbage. These people really are garbage. That would mutilate a human being like that because they're mentally ill. Like these people really are garbage, and they run the schools, and they run the unions, and they run the military, and they run Washington D.C. This all emanates out of Washington D.C. and they're involved in banking, and they're involved in production of all the drugs with all the major pharmaceutical companies. And of course, the Pope is invested in all of that. The Pope is the Vatican banking system is heavily invested in pharmaceuticals. Heavily invested in pharmaceuticals. I mean, the whole vaccine rollout, which I think was great, just so YouTube knows that I support that, was all backed by the Vatican. The Vatican had all in on the vaccines, all in on the lockdowns, all in on the George Floyd uprisings, which burnt down the cities to prevent or to create chaos and prevent Donald Trump from becoming president, and have people thrown in prison, mostly people that were defending themselves, trying to have them thrown in prison. Anyway, that's another story. So yeah, there's a lot of garbage out there. There's a lot of garbage out there that needs to be cleaned up.
That's 80 million people.
Yeah, shut up. Shut up.
No plan to do so.
Here's what voting yes on 35 means.
These people are so full of baloney. Baloney. I'm just skipping this ad. You don't want to listen to this ad, do you?
Without raising taxes.
God, these people are So dumb. So dumb. I just got to click this. Okay, let's go back to this.
Refuse to listen to the actual sentence Joe Biden.
How does this guy, dude? It's so tedious. How do people even watch? I can't watch any more of this. I just want to hear about Trump. I want Trump as Hitler. Clips. Let's find some shorts. Let's find some short clips. Trump as Hitler. Oh, here's Sasha Cohen. No, we don't want to listen to that idiot. A Night at the Garden, an American Nazi rep. So this is from, that's from 4 years ago. Trump's reported Hitler admiration. Here we go. Doug Emhoff.
Joining us now from Nevada is the second gentleman of the United States.
The second gentleman. Thank you. You look at his face. Okay, you just look at his face. And he's got that like Cheshire cat smile. They all have this. They have it. It's in their eyes. You can see it. It's almost like, I don't want to sound like an idiot, but it's almost like they're possessed by a demon. I don't believe in demon possessions, but that's what they look like. They look like they're possessed by I just think they're mentally deranged. I think they're just partly, the other thing, these people have been brought up by the system. I mean, these are people that went to American public schools when they were 6 and then hooked on all the drugs and taught all the pornography, and here they are, right? So if you want to call that demon, but that's what they look like. They all have the same, they look like this. Like you look at Alex Soros, that's what he looked. They all have that weird, creepy smile. It's like they're not really happy, but they're smiling, and you can just see like they just have like the demon eyes. And a demon is not something actually that you should be afraid of. Demons are actually frightened. They're very frightened little creatures. Very scared of you. They're very scared. And that's why they're trying to kill you in a way that you're not going to notice, because they're afraid of you. You see, they're afraid of you. And so they have to kill you, but they don't want you to know they're going to kill you. So they smile at you and they get you this pretty little smile. Hi, I love everybody. That's the demon smile. Anyway, Doug Emhoff has this, and so does this idiot at MSNBC. Let's listen to these morons.
Very much for joining us tonight.
Great to be here, Lawrence. Thank you so much.
So you have been speaking on the campaign trail, also knocking on doors. Sometime, I think today, maybe knocking on doors.
This is so boring.
What has
I want to hear about
surprised you
Trump
the
being
most,
Hitler. You got to get Trump quotes about Hitler.
Out there in the campaign trail, especially when you go up to knock on a door.
Yeah, away Social Security. So outraged by what had gone on at that rally.
Yeah, in those 15 straight weeks, a bigger one than that before the end of the
dude.
Guys, and I said, I am so proud of you. World can respect up on the world.
Like the woman in his.
I support her. And
shut up.
When I had to step away from my career,
saying the whole effing party, meaning the entire Democratic Party. This is not Trump speaking. It's one of his speakers. A bunch of degenerates, lowlives, Jew haters, and.
Okay. I would call them degenerate. I wouldn't call Trump's. Well, I guess there are some people that hate Jews, but they're not like prominent in the party because Trump's family's Jewish. That doesn't even make any sense. But let's continue.
Low lives, every one of them, every one of them. And that means the vice president, and it means you.
Okay. I can't even take this anymore. It's just so stupid. How do these people have, why do we have to listen to these people? Why do we have to listen to these people anymore? Ever. I don't want to hear from them again. Ever. Trump's MSG rally, Madison Square Garden, draws comparisons to 1939.
Donald Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden comes days after his own former chief of staff went.
Listen to this guy's voice. What does that sound like to you?
Donald Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden comes days after.
Donald Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden comes days after. That's what they sound like.
For his own former chief of staff went on record to describe his former boss as a fascist.
Yeah! John Kelly, dude. Woo! You're going in the camp, bro. You're going in the camp. He's like, Trump's a fascist. Let's hear that again. This is the good stuff. This is what we like.
Trump's rally at Madison Square.
Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden.
Garden comes days after his own former chief of.
Oh, so this is MSNBC says, this is like the thing on the bottom. It says Trump's MSG rally comes 85 years after pro-Nazi rally at famed arena. How do people? This is so funny, dude. But when I listen to Hannity or I hear Don Ben, they're always saying no. They're always trying to deny it, when it's actually just hilarious, dude. It's just hilarious. I guess you have to be an actual National Socialist to find all this funny. I guess that's what you have to be an actual National Socialist to find all this funny. And so I find it hilarious. Let's watch.
Staff went on record to describe his former boss as a fascist.
Former who? Wait, who is the guy?
But that jamboree happening right now, you see it there on your screen, in that place is particularly chilling.
Oh, wait.
Because
who is the guy?
To describe his former boss as
who?
Comes days after his own former chief of staff went.
Former chief of staff. That was John Kelly. Yeah.
On record to describe his former boss as a fascist.
Right on.
But that jamboree happening right now, you see it there on your screen, in that place is particularly chilling.
Oh, yeah.
Because in 1939, more than 20,000 supporters of a different fascist leader, Adolf Hitler, packed the garden for a so-called pro-America rally.
So?
A rally where speakers voiced anti-Semitic.
And they had a big picture of George Washington.
Rhetoric from a stage draped with Nazi banners.
Yeah. God, I can't believe that happened in New York. There were so many white people back then. New York used to be white. Is New York better now? No. New York sucks now. Is America better now? No. America sucks now. America is a place where children are given hormones so that they are sterilized by the government. It's all run by the government. The people that run the government, people in the pharmaceutical companies, and it's with the Pope and it's with the mafia called the Anti-Defamation League, which is tied into Pfizer and Bourla. So it looks like these guys were right. The people back here that were doing this rally it looks like they were the good guys. Because what's happened since then? Since we bombed Germany, what's happened since then? We've exterminated all the people in Europe, and we've destroyed America, and all the cities in Americans are in ruins, and Australia is in ruins, and all of Europe is in ruins, and England is in ruins, and the Middle East is in ruins. So I just can't. What is it that we accomplished after World War II? I don't see how these people were wrong when everything that they said was going to happen happened. The whole world's been ruined by this group that got in control, and all they do is shit on us all day. And literally, they literally just screw children. Like, they screw them up, they screw up their heads, they put them on drugs, they want to mess with they want to do surgeries on them. It's like, there's just no end to the mental illness. So I don't really see how the people that were doing this Nazi rally in 1939, how they're the problem. Like, how are they the problem? I don't like what they're doing isn't the problem. It's the people who won the war are causing all the problems for everyone on the earth, not even just in America, but also in Europe. NATO was created to suppress the Europeans, to suppress the Germans. That's why it was created. It was created to clamp down on the Germans so that the Germans could never rise up again. Well, how's that gone for Europe? Is that good for Europe? Is that good for Europe to not have any of the native people who live there? It's basically it's a program of ethnic cleansing. So they were all right. All the people at the 1939 rally were right. I'm sorry if this is news to you, but nothing good has come out of this. U.S. winning the war. Nothing good has come out of that.
Jewish protester rushed the stage. The Associated Press reported, quote, instantly, a dozen or more stormtroopers set upon him, knocking him down and beating him as he held his head in his arms. Most of his clothing was torn from his body. Later, he was booked for disorderly conduct.
Okay, so they stopped him and then they took him outside and he was arrested by the police because he was interfering in an event that was paid for by this group. I don't see this is just what's, you know, you could say, well, he was against the Germans, so he ran in there and okay, good. Well, then he was a protester and then he was grabbed and some of his clothes were torn and they took him outside and then they handed him over to the police and then he was booked for disorderly conduct. Big deal. This is the best you got. This is the best you got. It's ridiculous, dude. It's ridiculous.
Now, against that backdrop of history,
I like how they frame everything in Nazism as if the Nazis are the problem. As if the Nazis are really the problem. Huh. They're the ones causing all the problems. The white people and the Nazis, oh, they're the problem. Yeah. Okay.
Trump, the man who has threatened to use the military against opponents he calls enemies from within.
Good, let's do it.
Who has threatened to use the troops to quell what he says are lawless cities and to use...
I think he means the National Guard, which is why we have a National Guard. Isn't that what the National Guard's for? What is the National Guard for? Does anybody know? Does anybody know what the National Guard is for? I don't know. I thought it was... The National Guard is used by the states. And they are troops. They're actually... National Guard are actually... I don't know if they're U.S. troops or they're national... Well, it's called the National Guard, not the State Guard. So that's interesting. The states should actually have their own forces. So that is actually that's something I kind of disagree with. The states alone should have their own forces, and I think part of the reason why we lost the United States of America, why it's basically been turned into a garbage pit, is because the states didn't maintain their own forces. That probably had a lot to do with the Civil War. But anyway, I think the National Guard's supposed to be for quelling riots. They send the National Guard out all the time to confront America. They've been doing that. That's what the National Guard does. Let's continue.
So it's troops to carry out mass deportations of immigrants.
Okay, so but immigrants aren't Americans. So if you're for, like, you got to understand, immigrants actually have a government in the country they came from. The only government that I have is the government where I live. I don't have another government to go flee to. I don't have another home to go flee to. This is where I live, and this is my government. I don't have another one. If you're an immigrant, you have another home. You have another home. You have a home could be in Central or South America, or you have a home in Asia, or you have a home in the Middle East, unless it was bombed by the rabbis and their Freemason puppets and their Jesuit syndicate. So unless your home was bombed by that group, but that's the same group bringing them over here to my home, right? Now they want to take that. So they want to bomb them over there and then force them on my home so that nobody has a home. Okay. Well, I want to have a home. I don't have another government. I don't have anywhere to flee to. So when you're saying Trump wants to use the military to round up illegal immigrants and send them back to their home, why is that? Here's the question. Unless your home is like literally a war zone, which some homes are, but if your home, let's say your home is somewhere in, let's say South Asia, let's say Vietnam, and you have a home there, and you have a government there, and you have family there, why is it so awful for you to live there? Why would it be so awful for people over here to say, well, we didn't invite you here and we don't want you to stay, so we're going to put you on an airplane and send you back home? Why is it so awful to live among your own people? See, this is the weird thing. And this is the thing I think that some of the other races either don't understand or they don't care about. But like the thing about, let's say, National Socialism, as an example, is the whole idea that we wanted to live among our own people and have our own stuff. But then it was these other groups that were saying, no, you can't do that. And that's what started the war. They said, no, you can't do that. In other words, take a place like, for instance, take a place like the Netherlands. So in the Netherlands, they had a National Socialist government at one time for a very short period of time. And the whole idea was that they were going to defend their territory so that they could have their own government. And it wouldn't be some outside source coming in from the United States or England or somewhere else instructing. In fact, England was on board with this in the beginning. The King of England, or was it the King? Yeah, the King of England was forced to abdicate because he wouldn't go along with the U.S. and the Rothschilds and all this other stuff. That's why they got rid of. That's why they got rid of the King of England, and then they put in, and they got rid of the guy that was making deals with Hitler. What was his name? Chamberlain. They got rid of Chamberlain, and then they put in what's his face? Churchill, because he was going to go along with the war. He was a Freemason, and he was going to go along with the war. He was going to go along with the Rothschilds. He's going to go along with the Jesuits. See, and you're thinking, oh, the Jesuits. I thought Hitler was a Jesuit. No, I can't go into that at this time. But Hitler was not a Jesuit, and people that say that Hitler was a Jesuit, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about. We're not going to go into that. The Jesuits tried to kill Hitler. The Jesuits are the people who run Washington, D.C., was set up as a Jesuit base in 1790-ish, around 1790-ish or a little before that. I don't know the exact date. Was it earlier than that? Maybe it was earlier than that. 1780, between 1780-ish. I'm sorry. I think it was around 1780-ish. We're not going to go into that. Let's listen to this idiot some more.
Is once again turning Madison Square Garden into a staging ground for extremism.
Good.
Joining me now.
You think I want like this? So this guy's telling, whatever.
Ruth Ben-Ghiat, history professor at New York University.
A history professor. Okay, history professor.
Author of Strong Men, Mussolini to the Present.
Yeah, she's also Jewish, and she's a history professor. And then who's the other one?
Anne Applebaum.
Also Jewish.
Pulitzer Prize-winning historian, staff writer.
Historian, New York University. You got to understand. So I'm going to just tell you one thing about fascism in Italy and Germany, particularly in Italy. The groups that opposed Mussolini was the mafia. The mafia opposed Mussolini because they were organized crime. What were they trafficking? Heroin. What happened to the United States after World War II? It got flooded with heroin, right? It got flooded with heroin. And then they did a big LSD distribution. Then they did and marijuana, right? It was heroin and LSD and marijuana and PCP, and they just kept developing all these dangerous drugs and spreading them and making a lot of money and running the cocaine. And the U.S. population went into the toilet, and that's where we are. And now everything's ruined. So what I'm telling you is, the reason why a strong leader is important is because if you don't have one, then you have these other strong men that you don't see that are actually running everything. And they're running everything for their criminal gang. And that's how America is run. You don't see the mafia that runs Joe Biden. You don't see the mafia that runs Kamala Harris. And they like it that way because you see a soft, weak, confused, sad, frustrated woman, black woman. You see that and you think she's in charge, and she's not. And they like it that way because then you don't know what's going on. You don't see what's happening. The only thing that can stop that is a strong man who comes in and enforces the law, because the laws are usually the laws are already on the books that solve all these problems, right? And what happens is you get this mafia group that puts in a Kamala Harris or puts in a Joe Biden or puts in a Barack Obama or puts in a George Bush and prevents the criminals from being stopped. And that's how America's been run for at least 100 years or more. I don't know how long, but it's been this way for a long time. So what happened in Germany and with Mussolini, yeah, Mussolini was a strong man, and he wanted to put an end to the criminal gangs, which were operating politically through the Communist Party. The Communist Party was a front for the mafia. The unions were fronts for the mafia. So it was the unions, and the Communist Party was a front for the mafia, which was running all kinds of rackets to make a lot of money. And so when you get something like Mussolini coming in and said, no, we're gonna arrest you, we're gonna imprison you, we're going to execute you, they didn't like that. Mafia doesn't like that. And that's what it really comes down to. But let's continue with this garbage from these Jewish professors and that work for, they call themselves historians.
At the Atlantic and author.
Oh, at the Atlantic. The Atlantic that's run by Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, who is, of course, connected to Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. Let's continue.
Of Autocracy Inc., the dictators who want to run the world. I can.
This all goes back to, this is why they don't like Putin. Putin runs Russia for the benefit of Russia. They actually do believe in the law. Autocrats usually, not always, but usually actually like the law because that's why they got the position, because of the lawlessness, because of the crime, because of the mafia. And I'm not just talking about the street crime, but they like that. The enemy likes that. The mafia likes that there's all kinds of street crime and chaos and unfettered illegal immigration, because it just creates this atmosphere of chaos that they can operate in. They don't like the law and order that comes with a strong leader. Now, in America, we have 3 branches of government. We've got one branch that makes the laws, one branch that enforces the laws, and another branch that judges over disputes in the law. Now, the executive branch is elected by, right now it's elected by the Electoral College through our voting process. Originally, it was just chosen by the, I believe it was chosen by the Congress when America was founded. But however it's figured out, they choose an elected executive to enforce their laws. So they put the laws in the books and the executive enforces them. That's the role of the executive. That's why we see, if the executive doesn't do that, like Joe Biden, he only enforces laws on Americans that he wants to kill, or what Kamala Harris is going to do, or what you see with Daniel Penny, the prosecutor, forcing the law on a guy who tried to stop a criminal on a subway train. These are just examples, because that's the person they want to target, the person stopping the chaos, the person stopping the crime. That's the person they want to target. That's the mafia control of America. That's why they don't like what they call autocrats. That's why they don't like what they call fascists, because the fascists and the autocrats are the people that are going to get the laws enforced. And they don't want that.
Not wait to have this conversation with both of you. And Ruth, thank you both very much for being here. Ruth, since you are not at the table, let me start with you and just talk to us about the parallels that we're seeing between 1939, that rally at Madison Square Garden, and the rally we're seeing right now at Madison Square Garden, and the rhetoric that's already coming out of this rally.
Yeah, of course, this is not a casual choice to have it there. And although Donald Trump objects strenuously to people comparing him to Hitler, he is.
Her name is Ruth Ben-Ghiat. Okay, she's Jewish. And she's probably a dual citizen of Israel. And she's going to lecture us on our government. Come on, this is so dumb. It's so dumb. New York University. Like, this is why America is failing.
Who has gone out of his way to use Nazi rhetoric, talking about polluting our blood, calling people vermin, even releasing a campaign ad.
These are the same people that just exterminated like hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, many of them children. They killed like tens of thousands of people. It's the same people. That's what I'm saying. It's like they put the woman up there, so you see the soft, pretty woman. You know, women are so nonviolent, but she's speaking for a violent genocidal cult. And you're like, well, Trump supports that. I know Trump. I know how crazy Trump is about all that stuff. That's a whole nother conversation. And that's not the conversation I'm having right now. So, but anyway, let's continue.
That says he's going to create a unified Reich in America. And of course, as General Kelly said, complaining that, General.
You see how they have this big network. It's got General Kelly and it's got this lady from this university, and it's all mixed up with Kelly, and then the Jewish mafia, and they use black people as their little front groups, and it's like this massive network. None of it has to do with America. None of it has to do with the founding fathers. None of it has to do with Europe. They all consider themselves part of the European Union network. Like, none of them are European. You're not European. If you're not German or from some Germanic tribe or Celtic, Germanic, if you're not a Celtic, Germanic race, you're not part of our thing. You're from another race, right? So you're not part of us. And so you shouldn't have any say over how we conduct our affairs, other than we should have good relations with other races. But you don't have a right to come in and tell us how to run our business or get us to go fight and die in wars for you. That's my biggest.
Could be obeying him like Hitler's generals obeyed the Führer.
This is all
so
garbage.
This is not at all casual. I want to make a comment about what Von Hilliard was talking about. You know, Trump has been using his rallies since 2015 to radicalize people, to incite violence, to change, to kind of loosen people's inhibitions against violence. And all of the racist stereotypes.
Well, the thing is, whatever. We want to talk about violence. The only people capable of carrying out violence in the world are men, right? So putting women in charge of violence is a bad idea because men are the ones that have to carry out the violence. That's why putting women in politics is a bad idea. And listening to what women have to say about politics is a bad idea. Having women in political power or writing laws that are going to be enforced with violence is a bad idea. Why? Because because men are the ones that are going to carry out the violence. Men are going to be mostly the ones subjected to the violence of the law. So laws are enforced with violence. Men are the ones that carry out the violence, and usually the violence is carried out against other men. So why does a woman have a right to tell men how to run a government? What gives a woman a right? She's not going to be the one, usually. Sometimes they are. Sometimes women are the subject of the violence. So that does happen. But it's usually carried out by men. So anytime you have law, you got to have it enforced. And that law has to be enforced by men capable of violence. Women aren't capable of violence enough to maintain any large social system. You know, women can carry out violence against children in the home. That's about it. Okay. But they're not going to be carrying out violence on a large scale, which is what the law requires. The law requires violence. You can't enforce a law without grabbing someone and holding them down and putting them in handcuffs or spraying them in the face with chemicals or shooting them or hitting them with a stick. Like, all that requires violence. That's how the laws are enforced. Laws are enforced with violence, with guns, with handcuffs, with all kinds of tools of violence. So I don't want to hear women lecture men on government.
Types against Latinos and Blacks and misogynist stereotypes and all of the vulgarity and the crudeness is designed to help people lose their inhibitions and their taboos.
Not humans, they're animals, cold-blooded killers. The enemy from within, sick, radical.
Oh, this is all true. I like this.
Cold-blooded from the blood of our country. They're destroying them.
Let's hear what
Hitler used to say, "Hey, what's Mussolini?"
Oh yeah. So this is funny because this is the Atlantic and Applebaum. The Atlantic is one pushing hard that Trump is Hitler, or like Stalin, or like Mussolini. So this is funny because the Atlantic is a front for the Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein child kidnapping and rape network. That's literally the Atlantic. That's literally that. And who do they not want? Someone like Hitler. So the child molestation, rape, kidnapping group that's at the Atlantic, that is the Atlantic, because that's Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein. That's what they do. That's their whole life. So their life revolves around kidnapping and trafficking and molesting children, right? That's their entire network. They're the ones that don't like Hitler. They're the ones that don't like Mussolini. They're the ones that don't like Stalin. Why? Because those men were strong men who enforced the law, that used violence to enforce the law, that rounded up their political enemies. Who were their enemies? Them, this network. The network of child molesting, child trafficking, child abusing, child murdering, scum, garbage. That's what this all comes down to. That's what it all comes down to. That's why they don't like Hitler.
Walk us through what
Walk us
Mussolini
through, Mrs.
used to say,
Applebaum.
what Stalin used to say, what Hitler used to say, and then
You know, the funny thing is, if you actually listen to what Stalin and Hitler and all these other people, they didn't even talk about this stuff very much. They're mostly going along talking to the crowds about how bad things have become under this group, which is the same group that now runs Washington, D.C., and we're talking about. And they would say, this group is horrible. They're destroying our country. We need to restore our country. We need someone who's willing to do it, a strong leader. So yeah, they're right. Trump is Hitler. Go to the polls, vote for Trump.
you bring up things that Donald Trump has said, including they're poisoning the blood of our country, they're destroying the blood of our country, bad genes, they're not humans, they're animals, cold-blooded killers, the enemy from within, sick, radical left lunatics. And you say he knows exactly what he's doing when he does this.
So a couple of points to make about it. One is this isn't language that's been part of mainstream American politics before.
Good, because you are part of the Epstein child sex trafficking network. And we need somebody who's going to crush you. You need to be crushed. If you're involved in trafficking little kids, you need to be crushed under the boot, the jackboot of our fascist regime. That's what this world needs. It needs not good people, not moms and dads and children and, all the good folks out there that go to work. Those aren't the targets of Trump's hatred and vengeance and retribution. Don't worry about it. You're not the problem. Unless you're in the country illegally, you have a country to go back to. We want you to go home safely. We want you to be happy. Go home. Go be with your people in your home in your beautiful land. Why is that bad? That's a beautiful thing. But when it comes to people like Applebaum here, who's part of a network of child sex trafficking, drug trafficking, heroin trafficking, cocaine trafficking, child prostitution, that's what the Atlantic is. That's what the Atlantic is. It's not something else. That's what it is. Well, yeah, those people should face the boot. They should face the boot of fascism, stomping on their face forever. Because that's what a good fascist government would do. A bad fascist government would go after the hardworking citizens who are participating in society. But I don't see any evidence that it ever did. Maybe it does. See, our system of fascism in America does. We have a fascist system where we have the despots, because fascism is really a tactic. We have the despots, the degenerates, the sodomites crushing all the good people. Well, that's the wrong type of fascism. The right type is where all the good people are left alone, all the law-abiding people are left alone, and the criminals are crushed by the heel of fascism. That's a good type of fascism, because fascism is a tactic. It's a military tactic. Any military order is a fascist. Any military order, whether any soccer team, that's called fascism. That's a team of people. They're all wearing the same uniforms. They all work together as a team. It's called fascism. So law enforcement should go after the criminals, not the good people, not the people who have rights. Like, the people who are spreading, if you're going out, you're passing out flyers just because the government doesn't like them, police don't have a right to stop you, which is happening. They are stopping people passing out right-wing flyers saying it's hatred. See, that's how the wrong type of fascism works. The right type of fascism says it's the drug dealers and the traffickers and the child molesters that work at the Atlantic magazine, where Jeff Goldberg and Ann Applebaum work. It's run by the Epstein child sex trafficking network. That's the problem, not us. But let's continue.
I actually, when I was writing that article, I went back and looked at a few other eras in the last century to see
They're
if I
all
could
coming
find
for you
anybody
again,
talking about
lady.
vermin or poisoning the blood or.
You got to understand, you are vermin if you're screwing kids or you're part of a network that screws kids and traffics heroin. Look, if you're a part of a network that's involved in drug trafficking and molesting children, you're vermin. You're vermin and you should be crushed. I don't care what happens to you. I don't care how bad it is. I mean, I do, because I don't believe in hurting people in cold blood. In a battle, yes, you can use violence in a battle. If you have somebody arrested and they're detained, then no, you shouldn't torture them. You shouldn't be cruel to them. You should keep them detained, and you should legally and humanely put them to work, not in a cell, not in solitary confinement. You should give them nutritious food. Don't poison their food. Don't make them take dangerous drugs. Just take care of, give them nutrition, put them to work, have them work 8 hours a day, have them sleep 8 hours, plenty of sleep. They work 8 hours or 9. Some people like to work 10 hours. Okay. Let's say you work 10 hours a day, you sleep, 8 hours at night, you get nutritious food. That's your life now. Okay. You're in prison. That would be a humane prison as far as I'm concerned. Locking people up in a cell, that's inhumane. It needs to stop as far as I'm concerned. I'm against putting people in cells. Even people that you would think deserve it, it becomes, now you're torturing people, you see. They're already captive. Now you're just torturing them. So that's wrong. But let's talk about what's going to happen at Applebaum later.
Comparing political enemies to insects, and I couldn't.
Well, you are. I mean, look, it's not just your. If you're a guy like Dave Rubin and you are involved in the slave trade of babies, okay, you buy babies for you and your homosexual lover to pretend like it's your baby. You are like an insect. You're worse than an insect. I actually have more respect for an insect because insects are God's creatures. You're not God's creatures. You're Satan's creature. If you do that, you're the devil. So you are not like an insect, actually, because insects are good compared to you.
Racist speech that he made in 1963, where he's segregation now, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. He doesn't use that kind of language. This is
okay. Well, segregation means all the white people live together, and all the black people live together. Well, they do that anyway. Who wants to integrate? Nobody even wants to. It's so dumb. Integration is dumb. I like black people, but the whole idea that we're going to all mix everything up is stupid. We can live in harmony together. We can have good relations. We can cooperate, but that doesn't mean we can't be segregated. We can segregate and still cooperate, still be friends, still have friends in other communities. Absolutely. So this whole, so that's just more BS.
Language that is deliberately being.
It's just that this cult has to integrate everyone so that no one can form a political bloc against it. So they have to mix everything up, because the more mixed things are, then you can't organize a group that can say no, because it's too mixed. You're just one person. You're just a bunch of individuals, right? But when you're in blocks, racial blocks, the racial bloc says no. And then that you have to form some kind of cooperation. Like the blacks would have to form a cooperation with the whites. Now, South Africa was actually a good example of that before black rule, when it was white rule. The whites in South Africa, if you ever go back and you look at white rule of South Africa, you will see black people in the city. They'll be in the city and they'll be in there working, and they'll be dressed nicely. Many of them, a lot of them are dressed nice. They have jobs. And so there was just a way of keeping the races separate. And one race had more political power, but they were cooperating with the other race, who frankly came out of the West African jungle and came there to work with them. Like they literally migrated down there because the whites were there in the first place. Now that the whites are gone, the city's falling apart. So I'm just saying, you can work out arrangements without destroying your own people, particularly the white race.
And used knowingly by
Trump
and by others around him, including at this rally. It's also interesting
shut up, lady.
Normally, at this point in a campaign, a candidate would be going to the center. I mean, they would be looking for
She's going to tell Trump how to run his campaign. That's stupid because Trump's won twice already. He's won the presidency twice. You actually count the votes that are legitimate. You don't just make up fake votes. If you don't just like make up fake votes in the middle of the night at like 3 o'clock in the morning, then Trump won both of them. So don't give Trump advice on how to run his election. And I'm going to go drink some more coffee. It's nice talking to you. Have a good, go to the polls and vote fascism 100%. We're taking over. Trump 2025, Project 2025. Trump is Hitler. Trump is Stalin. Trump is Mao. Trump is Pol Pot. Trump is Mussolini. Trump is the God Emperor Trump. And there you go. Go vote. Vote for Trump.